Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids and cubs, and welcome to Season 5 and episode number 724 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. Always 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Thursday, August 28th, 2025, and I'm looking out my window and I think it's going to be a nice day at the Beaver Lodge. I don't see as much blue in the sky as I did yesterday. It's more of a muted blue, more clouds than yesterday, but I can see the sun making a little bit of an effort over the rooftop over there. So hopefully we will have some lovely late summer weather today. I am your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him. Hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And not with me as usual is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. However, good news. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We are going to have to do a pre-record episode for Monday. So we are going to try to get our friend Creek Pete to join us so that we could have a conversation, catch up with him, and see how he's doing and get his thoughts on the recent going ons in politics and in culture. And therefore, hopefully, we'll be able to get Mr. Grizzly on at the same time. He says he's available at the time that I have suggested. Now I just have to make sure that Mr. Pete is as well. And if that is the case, that's what we will have for you on Monday. So you might get your dose of Grizzly because I know you miss him, and I certainly do. So a little bit of good news there. So bad news, we won't be live holiday Monday. I will be out in Montreal because I will be seeing Hamilton the night before, and then making sure that I get to see my beaver sweetie who will be coming back and drive back home with them because I just couldn't wait to see him. I couldn't wait for him to drive back from Montreal. I have to go up there and see him so I can see him a little more sooner than I would otherwise because I miss him that much. I do. I need my cuddles. I need my cuddles. All right. Kids and cubs. So yes, hopefully we will get you your dose of Grizzly on Monday because, like I said, I know you love him and I know you miss him, and yeah, and we want to hear what he has to say, right? So we'll catch up, and like I said, we'll do our best to make that happen. Have that for you on Monday. All right, kids and cubs. I don't know if I thanked our sponsors, but let's do that. And if we've done it twice, well, they certainly deserve it. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca. Now, kids and cubs, how is your mental health doing this morning? Mine, I have to say, is doing very well. Easier getting up this morning, but still needed a little bit of extra time. But easier getting up this morning. I didn't want to roll over and press the snooze button and get another hour this morning. So that's a win. Still a little slow getting started, but it is getting easier. So hopefully I will get some good rest this weekend and be back on more regular schedule. And I just seem to be off. I just seem to need a little bit extra time, waking up and being bright-eyed and bushy-tailed enough to do the show, so I don't start the show. Good morning, kids and cubs. So nice to be here. Instead. So, but yes, working on it, and it's eh, there are improvements. There are improvements. I am also in a very good mood because yesterday I had the opportunity to play tennis, which always puts me in a good mood. But I played tennis against someone who I am pretty much at an equal level. Almost every time we play one pro set till 8, and it almost always gets to 8-8 or like 9-7 or 8-6 or something. It's always very, very close between us. And well, it was no different yesterday. I got off to a great start. I was up 2-0, and then, well, then she went up 5-2. And I was like, "Oh boy, this is gonna be a brutal match. It's gonna end 8-2 pretty quickly if I don't to do something about it." And then, well, I did find a way to do something about it, and I got myself to 5-5, and then eventually we got to 8-8. Then we had to stop because, well, one, we ran out of time, and two, I had a physiotherapy appointment. Our match was supposed to be done at 2, and I had a physiotherapy appointment at 2:50, and we were at 2:38 already, and we still weren't done. That's how long our matches are. We have long rallies, and we stay very close to each other. So, yeah, we called it a draw at 8-8, and, it's only the second time, since I've started playing again that I've actually gotten to 8. And this is against someone, like I said, last year, just, like I said, our matches were dogfights, so I didn't think, I was, anywhere near that level again, but yesterday I was. And, the interesting part is that, because my cardio isn't where it would be normally at this time of year because I didn't get to play for 2 months, um, when I play a match like that against her, I'm normally sucking wind at some point. And yesterday I was not at all. So I think the work that I've been doing since I got back to work on my court positioning and my shot precision in terms of placement has been working because I didn't feel I had to work as hard as I normally do to get the same result, even though the match was, like I said, just as long and just as tough, and just as requiring of me having to have full focus the entire time, not having a mental dip, because I do. If I have any type of mental dip, she's all over me. And the match is like she can get string together 3 games very quickly, and then I find myself in a hole. So, yeah, all the little things I've been working on seem to be coming together, and I was mentally tough, physically tough. My foot hurts a little today, but nothing terrible. Nothing that a little stretching and walking it off won't help. So, maybe a little ice. So, yeah, um, feeling pretty good about my game. Didn't think I would be anywhere near this close. I saw my physiotherapist after. He's amazed at my progress, how well I've been doing, and he's giving me more advanced exercises because we are still worried about potentially rolling the ankle. So we want to strengthen that. So he's given me a couple of other exercises that I can do to help actually work that particular thing and the particular motion of landing on my left foot, and then very quickly pushing off it, pivot off it, or push off it to be able to go right again. And yeah, apparently I am ahead of where we thought we would be. My physiotherapist thought that my season was going to be was pretty much over. So the fact that I'm on the court at all apparently is amazing, and that I can keep up and at least tie and get to a tie in matches against people I was playing late last year and keeping up with. So, and that, like I said, that's with 2 months fewer tennis under my belt than everyone else this year. So, hey, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. And to think that, like, last weekend, which was Pride, I had the opportunity to stay here and play in a tennis tournament, and I decided to skip it because I figured it would be like too many matches in a short period of time, and which would be too much for my foot, and I wouldn't be able to stand up to compete anyway. Um, I may have been right about the many matches on my foot, but I may have been able to give it a better and stronger go of it than I thought. So I think I had been slightly underestimating my abilities. So it's kind of nice to know that um, I can push just a little more and still be in the safe zone and still perform well. So, so it's still not about winning for me at the moment. It's about just getting on the court and improving certain aspects of my game so I can pull it all together. But I mean, if that's happening and I can keep up and tie and maybe hope to win at the same time, why not? So yeah, in a good mood. In a good mood today. I have another match today. We play on a competitive ladder and a recreational ladder. So the matches I've been playing this week are all on the competitive ladder because I've been trying to fit them all in before the end of the month, and I backloaded them all to get as much time on the court before the matches that count started to count. So yeah, so I have one more and hopefully, if I can get a tie or win today, I might actually be able to move up a level on the ladder after this round, oddly enough. So, again, I will take that too. The fact that I'm even in the running to be able to do it is blowing my mind. So, if I can actually manage to achieve it today, that would be something. If I do, you'll probably hear the scream of joy from Nanaimo. So, all right, kids and cubs. Again, uh, how's your mental health doing today? I hope it's good, and I hope you have some lovely plans for this evening and this upcoming long weekend that will be good for your mental health. Now, let's take a little look into the magic monitor. We have Kit Jillian with us saying good morning, the first off the mark today. Kit Elaine also saying good morning. Kit Uncover the News, already hard at work at it, saying good morning. Thank you for all your help as usual. Very, very grateful for you and all that you do for us. We have Kit Argosi here, Argosi Acres, saying good morning, kids and cubs. Oh, a new dad joke from Uncover. Well, actually, a beaver dad joke, I would say. What do you call a beaver that's always late? A procrastinator. Ah, I love it. Kid Argosy goes, I got my coffee, my oatmeal, and True North Eager Beaver. 10-hour shift today. Ooh, my. That's a long one. Yay. I got Hyper T 007 saying, Bum dia chien. Okay. He sent me another pronunciation cue yesterday. So, Bum dia chien. Sorry, let's try that again. Bum dia gente. Gente. Yes, Bum dia gente. I think I'm getting closer now. And there's an extra on there that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. They're all vowels, and I have no idea what sound they're supposed to make. So I'm not even going to try. Okay, who else do we have? We have the Breens with us. Good morning, kits. Lovely to see you. And thank you for saying hello to everyone and for joining us yet today. Who else do we have? We have Kit Frank with us. We have, there's a new name here, Kit Mayhem. That's clever. Clever. Mayhem, but in two words, May and Hem. So hopefully you are having a good time at the Beaver Lodge. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. Pull up a log, make yourself comfortable, stay a while. We have Kit Linda M saying, good morning. Good morning to you, dear one. Glad you're here. Kit Saucy is with us as well. Good morning to you, dear one. And I hope everything's going well at home. We have Kit Tavi G with us. We have Kit Jen with us saying, good morning, darlings, and good morning to you, dear one. We have Kit Grace here saying, good morning, everyone. Uh, all right. Who else do we have here? Kit Tom is here saying good morning, friends, and good morning to you as well. Kit Jillian is liking my sartorial choice today, saying I am vibrant in pink. Thank you. I'm wearing my happy tennis shirt, so hopefully, and I'm putting it on now, so hopefully I'm getting all the juju from the tennis gods for my match tonight. This afternoon, I should say. Kit playing with 3D is here saying, good morning, folks. Kit Toronto Dan is here as well. Lovely to see you, my friend. Who else do we have with us? We have a lot of people today. That's so lovely. I like it when we have a good crowd here at the Beaver Lodge. All right, and I think that's everyone for this morning. I'm going to keep scrolling in case I see someone who slides across the plate at the very last second for a greeting. Kit Kat W, good morning, everyone. So we did have at least one, and Kit Nona Carol saying, good morning, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Doesn't matter. We don't care when you arrive. We just care that you do arrive. So welcome. And who else do we have? Is that everyone now? Yes, I do have everyone. All right, kids and cubs. Thank you, first of all, for all of you who tuned in to watch yesterday's show. Um, it was a little abnormal once the show was over. Sorry, need to do a little bit to keep myself moist here. Not too long after the show was over, I went to look at the count, to the view count, and it was more than double what it usually is at that point in the day. And yeah, we had a lot of people tune in. Kind of surprised me because I didn't really know what to call the show yesterday when I was uh, writing up the description. And at the last minute, all that came to my head was data dump. So that's what I called it. And I figured, well, see, that's not particularly original, but I was bringing a lot of data. And I thought, that's not going to, that's a title that's probably not going to draw people. And it drew a ton of people. So, this is what I say on the show. We don't try to chase the headline. We don't try to chase the algorithm because we never know what people are going to react to. Last week we had a show called Disaster in Alaska, and I thought that was such a clever title. We'd get a whole bunch of people to tune in, and it was the least viewed one last week. And then a throwaway title that I thought, well, this is the best I can do at this point in time. It garnered a lot of people. So you never know what's going to resonate. So there's no point in chasing it. That's why we just do us, and hopefully it resonates with you and it lands well. But I was very pleased to see that many people tune in that early and give us good numbers yesterday. So thank you to everyone who did take the time to stop in, and hopefully a lot of you will be coming back today. All right, kids and cubs. Well, 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 well. I know, I promised that after we looked at um, Pierre's, in Pierre Skippy quotations, victory speech and a little bit of his first presser, that I would try to, that was a lot of Pierre in one dose for 1 week. I mea culpa, and that I would try to um, uh, not expose you to him on a daily basis. But every now and then, right, he does something or says something that creates a type of situation that we absolutely have to talk about. So, yesterday, that kind of happened. Um, Pierre was in the Halifax region for a bit of a solemn occasion, in that, for those who missed it, and we did not report it on the show when it happened, but about a week ago, on the 21st, CBC announced that former federal minister from the Harper Conservative era and a Conservative MP from Prince Edward Island, Gail Shea, had passed away at the age of 66. Um, She was remembered for her kindness and fairness, according to Marilee DeVries of CBC. And she was the Progressive Conservative MLA for District 27 PEI for 7 years. I'm going to guess that this is provincial politics at this point, and was PEI's first female transportation minister under Premier Pat Binns. Binns said on Friday she lit up a room if we had a cabinet meeting and she wasn't there. It wasn't quite as much fun as it would be if Gail was there, but you knew she'd get the work done too. And then she turned to federal politics in 2008, was elected as Conservatives MP for PEI's Edgemont riding, spending 7 years in the seat and making history as the first PEI woman ever named to federal cabinet when Stephen Harper was Prime Minister. On Friday, Harper said he was, quote, deeply saddened to learn of Shea's death, writing in a statement that was posted to Twitter that, quote, Gail embodied the spirit of the Maritimes, hardworking, collegial, with an innate sense of duty and commitment to her community, province, and Canada. And Shea was first appointed to Minister of Fisheries and Oceans in 2008 and resumed the post in 2013 after a stint as Minister of National Revenue. She was the mother of 5, and by the time of her death, a grandmother of 17. So must have been very busy making a lot of cookies if she was indeed a cookie maker. So Pierre was in Prince Edward Island for her funeral. So and then, while he was there, I guess decided not to take the rest of the day off, but attempt to make some news in the process. So we talked a little bit about him, about his victory speech, about his first presser, about things that we've seen since he lost, since he got fanjoyed out of his seat in Carleton. And we keep on going back to him having walked through some farm fields in Alberta soon after that, recording a video of him and his wife walking, saying that he's um, learned from the loss and that he needs to grow and change. And we've been commenting regularly about that journey, alleged journey of growth and change since he was um, delivered a lesson in humility, or what should have been, in Carlton. And we've been noticing that there isn't much change or growing or evolution or anything of the site thing happening. In fact, we are getting more and more the impression that what he learned from his loss was that he was entitled to the seat, and that the best way to become this great fighter and champion is to quickly um, grab someone else's horse and run in the safest seat you can possibly find in order for to get yourself a sure thing, which was really interesting in his victory speech because he kept on referring to you don't quit, so I don't quit. You don't give up, so I don't give up. My mother taught me to fight, or my mother taught me to do all that kind of stuff. But what he did was indeed quit and stop fighting because he ran to the safest seat possible to ensure he had to do the least amount of work possible in order to get back into the house after the Canadian people had already told him, no, we don't want you. So, which I do not know his mother, but when I turn around and I say, my mother always taught me, um, those are not the types of things she taught me. If you want to win, pick the easiest fight possible. If you want to win, phone it in. So, but yes, he's trying to frame himself as someone who was knocked down. He was knocked down, but he got up again. You're never gonna keep him down, unfortunately. Um, sure, it would be nice to have a hole. Where is Red Green with the duct tape when you need him? That's all I'm saying. Yeah, just tape him to the floor. Don't let him move. Get the ankles. This one squirms. Jeez. Um, so yeah, uh, he's trying to frame his comeback, right? I'm so back. And a lot of his minions online, Pierre is so back, so back. The problem is nobody wanted him back. But he's back regardless. Like a bad case of herpes. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I shouldn't say stuff like that. Terrible. But yes, he's back. And there isn't enough political Valtrex to keep this guy away. It would seem. Um, but it's not this big victory. It's not a big achievement, right? If you read the fine print, if you look at how things were done. But he's framing it as this. And then we get into this thing, and I will talk about it a little more. Maybe that's what I should have called the title today, the show today, rather than Pierre Embarrasses himself. I should maybe call it the conservative conundrum, because the conservatives are framing things in a certain way, this, but they've also made other statements in the past, and when you put them together, they don't actually kind of work, or they lead one to ask some very interesting questions. So, and we will get into that a little later on the show because there are things he said yesterday that do lead to that question, right? And highlight that conundrum that Pierre is going to find himself in if he keeps on down the path that he is currently decided to engage upon. Uh, so, as we know, there hasn't been much change. There hasn't been much growth. It still is. Carney is terrible. Carney is worse than Justin. Pierre really, 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 really can't quit Justin, and he proved it yesterday. But you would think. Okay, let's put it this way. Given my background in PR and comms, is if I were organizing Pierre's comeback tour. Sorry, threw up in my mouth a little bit thinking about that concept. Um, if I were organizing Pierre's comeback tour, that victory speech wouldn't have sounded anything like that. There would have been a lot more humility, a lot more gratitude. The campaigning in Battle River Crowfoot would have been way different. Because if I were showing up at all the parades and the rodeos, I certainly wouldn't have been in the back of a car, waving, going to everyone, "Oh, it's so lovely for you to come out to see me, isn't it?" I would be like actually going out and reaching out. I would be doing, I would be copying what Bruce Fanjoy did to me in Carlton in Battle River Crowfoot. Uh, right. I would have been uh, those 1 or 2 months he kind of disappeared a little bit and was licking his wounds. I would have been having lots of meetings with lots of people to develop new policy. I would have had an actual real post-mortem done by somebody else in my party, not myself, calling everyone and saying, "Hey, it's me. I know your salary depends on me, but tell me how I did." Yeah, I probably would not have done that so I would have, I would have actually seriously gone to find out what it is, what went wrong, and learn something, get an actual honest, independent approach. I would do everything I could do to get some 360-degree feedback. I would look at all of that advice and decide where it is I needed to shore up things. I would have developed a plan in terms of my tone, how I present myself, to show that there is change and evolution. If I wanted to be a government in waiting, I would definitely be presenting myself as a more serious candidate who has actually serious things to say about topics. I would be finding out what the major topics of concern are for the Canadian public, and I would be talking about those, not trying to force the topics I had already prepared for to fit into a round hole, even though they are a square peg. Uh, so there would be a visibly different, new, and improved Pierre coming out after going underground for 2, 3 months to lick his wounds and do all that work. And I would certainly have one or two new signature policies that were different from anything I was advocating before related to the issues that Canadians said are of importance. And I certainly, in given the current moment, would have something to say about Donald Trump and our position. And if I were presenting a Canada Sovereignty Act, as he did, it wouldn't be a Sovereignty Act campaigning against my own federal government, but a Sovereignty Act that would assert Canadian sovereignty in the face of international threats. I would not be framing the biggest threats to Canada in my signature first bill as being coming from within Canada. But this is what he has chosen to do. And this one is a very fine line for Pierre because if he spends a lot of time developing in the public consciousness that he's more against Canada than he is against those who purport to wish to annex us or break us in order to better own us, um, that's not going to work out very well for him because Canadians are still pretty much right pissed. They do not want to see, no, let's put it this way. Pierre's base wants to see a Conservative Party of Canada that's fighting against the Liberals again because they're obsessed with that. But the people he needs to attract, if he wants this rerun of his to work the next time around, are the people that want him to stand up with other Canadians in order to form a bulwark against what certain nations are trying to impose upon us, not being the person who destroys or attempts to be constantly eroding the confidence of the Canadian people in our current efforts to do that. But he appears to have decided that his bread is buttered on being the latter rather than the former, on being the person who tears down rather than builds up, on being the person in the corner that keeps on going, "You missed a spot," rather than the person that says, "Oh, I noticed there was a spot here. Let me fix that for you." Right? There's the person that says you missed a spot, and then there's the person that notices you missed a spot and just quietly comes back and cleans it up. Pierre is not going to be the latter guy. Very clearly on this one. So, uh, but what he's come up with is not that, right? As we said last week, it's the same old Pierre. It's the same old tone. It's the same old breathlessness. It's the same old constant negativity. It's a Canada's abusive boyfriend telling us all the time how we're ugly and fat and dumb and no one's going to love us. And therefore, the best we can do is him, right? Why you got that dress on? Who are you doing all that work for? Nobody's going to love you. I'm all you got. You can't do better than me. So, not particularly inspiring political rhetoric. Doesn't make you want to get up and go vote for him. It's not rallying in any way, shape, or form. It's not building. It's not constructive. It's not helpful. But Pierre has decided that he's going to be this guy. He's going to be this. I'm going to hold this liberal government to account. Well, if you're going to do that, you can do that. That's another option. Um, but we already have an example of someone who was uh, a very excellent prosecutor in chief as a leader of the opposition, and that was Thomas Mulcair. Now, he was a terrible party leader and terrible candidate for prime minister. um, but as leader of opposition, he was extremely effective because in the House of Commons, he often asked questions as if it was a cross examination rather than a moment to grab a clip. And Harper had his hands full, but Pierre has decided he's not going to be that type of opposition leader either. He's not going to try to bring some substance. He's not going to try to grab a file and make a serious effort at deconstructing it or finding where the issue is and bringing attention to it and then proposing some viable solutions. It's just going to be, yeah, everything sucks. He's worse than Justin. And then give us the same old tired policies and positions that he gave us the first time and ended up with him not only losing the election, but losing his seat. You'd think someone would learn from that. But his take on it was that, our policies were great and we won all those debates. So, so that's what he's running with. That's what he's using as his platform to keep launching to what he's going to do. So, yesterday, um, in true, absolutely summer rerun fashion, he found himself making a presser from a gas station with nobody else around, with the same snarky tone, same breathless delivery, the same tripping over his words all the time because the lies are so big coming out of his mouth he can't get them out without stumbling. All of the same stuff. But it seems that he's adding either an extra layer of effort or panic. You know when you're trying too hard? Like I have an example at one point, my beaver sweetie, when he was in university, ran for the university senate, and he was running his campaign, and everything was going well, and he got a couple of letters of support, and he had done everything he had need to do with his campaign, but he had this one letter of support that he had not been able to fit in or use somehow. And he thought, I have this here. I can't let this go to waste. So he tried to find a way to use it. And he learned that because the letter of support came from a certain source, because and that source could be speaking either in their official capacity or just as their regular capacity as just a person, and it wasn't clear in this letter, which it was, uh, technically it was considered to be a violation of the rules, and it ended up in him being disqualified. And it was a situation of this like you've ran the full campaign, you've got everything like this, you've done well, leave well enough alone. Says, yeah, but I've got this. I have to use it. I have to. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have to use it. Now, I don't know. Nobody knows if he was in a position to win at that point, right? It's a secret vote. But the concept of just because you have something, you absolutely need to use it or find a purpose for it, right? There's a reason why when you make a film, some stuff gets left on the cutting room floor, right? Even if it's a great scene, if it doesn't fit with the story and doesn't advance the narrative, it's just, well, it's this great scene, so we need to put it in. We can't let this go to waste. No, because there's always a bigger issue, right? There's a bigger picture. There's a overall objective that's greater. So in this case here, um, my beaver sweetie tried too hard in order to get the win and wanted to use absolutely everything he had. And turns out that it wasn't a wise choice. Pierre's doing the same thing here. He's got the things that he thinks works for him. He's got the tools, and my God, he's going to use them. And but again, the question is the dose. Yes, you can have a skill, but you have to use it in the right amount at the right time, or else it doesn't serve you well. There can be some unintended consequences that affect you adversely, or that one skill may not be the Swiss Army knife you think it is. It may not work in so many situations. And if you always go back to the same play, well, you can't develop new material. So when I'm watching Pierre in action yesterday, and I will be showing this to you, the only thing I am able to think is, as I'm rolling my eyes and trying not to pull a muscle, is, oh my God, this guy is the living embodiment of Einstein's definition of insanity. Repeating the same behaviors and expecting a different outcome. Pierre has been nothing but utterly impressive and awesome in his ability to remain constant. That is not a compliment. So, kits and cubs, and I mean, even the title, like, because this is from his own YouTube page, right? I'm not going to a media site here. This is from his own YouTube page, and he literally called his event yesterday, his availability, live, Axe Carbon Tax 2.0. He didn't even say Axe the Tax 2.0. Axe Carbon Tax 2.0. So that gives you an indication of the level of change and evolution and growth that he is bringing to the second act. And here's the thing, I can't even call it a second act. There is no second act. It's just literally it's the same act. It's literally this is the song that never ends as it goes on. Like, it's just literally he hit a speed bump and we are now back to regularly programming. So, kits and cubs, for your viewing displeasure, I am so sorry. I'm going to be present. I've been trying to delay it as much as possible, as you can tell. But more Pierre, sadly. Pierre, one of the and why I'm mentioning Gail Shea specifically earlier on is that when we get to the question and answer period, the first question he is asked is about Gail Shea himself. And that part I will have no problem presenting to you because that's as close to human as we'll get from him in this moment. But first, before we get the human, the showman. All right, kids and cubs.
In this wonderful region.
Whoops, sorry. I don't think I have the sound going through the correct speaker, so let's try that now. And if it did, I'm sorry for the slight repeat. All right.
In this wonderful region, we've been touring around Atlantic Canada, meeting the brilliant, hardworking maritime workers. Yesterday, we visited Irving shipyards to meet with the welders, the electricians, the scaffolders, the pipe fitters, and the countless other trades there that are doing incredible work to build the battle fleet of our future. Thank God for them and for the sailors who will ride and drive and those beautiful ships. We also met yesterday with industrial divers At Dominion, they not only do they dive, but they also used a motorized technology that goes into the sea and does the work under the water that is needed for our energy, our offshore, and countless other sectors that rely on our oceans. Our workers are brilliant. They are hardworking. They are determined, and they are patriotic. And there used to be a deal in this country for them. A deal that if you work hard, you get a great life. And every young person who gets out of bed in the morning, gets educated, gets a job, can start a family, own a house, not just rent one, and buy great food, meat and potatoes on the table every single night. That's how it was in Canada. Anyone who worked hard had that great life. The other day I met an airline attendant who told me that.
So I'm just going to make a little pause here. As you will notice, a little to understand how these things go. You will always notice that in one of these things from Pierre, there's always a moment where there is a section where he talks nostalgically about a time gone by when things were allegedly better. Let's also remind ourselves this is a requisite part of any type of conservative type thing. There was a time when that time is gone. Oh my God, isn't it awful? Let's also remember that that time gone by that Pierre's talking about, where everything was better, is also a time where women couldn't get a credit card unless they had the signature of their husband or father, in which people like me, who are rainbow people, our relationships were not bound by contract law, and where people could be denied a place to live, to rent, if they didn't look the right way. So all this freedom, he's talking about us having had such a better life back then because things were so much better then. They weren't. Not for everyone and not in every way. But that is a requisite part of any one of these types of speeches. We need to do a shout out to a time gone by that never actually was. All right. And now the other requisite part of these types of conservative things is talking about people who are alleged people who either have a first name or no name, yes, who allegedly are struggling, which could be the case. But we don't know if Pierre actually did meet these people or talk to these people, or whether or not he's just saying he has.
He and his girlfriend had just given up on having kids. They're in their mid-30s. They said there's just no way the math will ever work out for them to have a house and kids. He works 3 jobs, and his girlfriend, or she's still his girlfriend, soon to be his wife, she has a good job as well, but they can't afford to live anywhere in the GTA. When I arrived in Halifax, I met a chef who's living in a tent because he can't afford the skyrocketing rent in Halifax, which has had among the worst housing inflation in the last 5 years of Liberal government. I met a mother at a workshop yesterday who was in tears because she says every time she goes to the grocery store, she's shocked at how much the prices have gone up, and she cannot afford groceries anymore, even though she works hard every day. Mark Carney said he would be different.
All right. So let's go back into that. So again, you notice that he's told us 3 tales of woe. One of a family that has given up on having kids because they can't afford them and they don't think they'll ever be able to afford them, even though they work multiple jobs. And his solution here is going to be axe carbon tax 2.0, not do anything. For example, strengthen collective bargaining that could make it such that these people can negotiate higher wages for themselves. His second one, a man who is living in a tent because he can't make rent. He's not there to propose the government getting into the building of actual affordable housing. He's not talking about incentives to provincial governments to put rent controls back in place. He's not talking about transition programs to move this guy from a tent to another type of more secure housing as a step up to him getting his actual full apartment. He's talking about axing carbon tax 2.0. The third one, this mother in tears because she allegedly cannot afford groceries no matter how hard she tries. This, he promised us that axing the carbon tax the first time would solve the problem of the alleged 2 million people lining up at food banks and of this mother. And the carbon tax was eliminated, but that didn't help. And now he's talking about axing carbon tax 2.0 because doing the exact same thing we did the first time, axing a carbon tax, allegedly, was supposed to make it such that everybody could afford their rent and their food, according to what Pierre was saying back then. And we did, and then that didn't happen, almost like Pierre had no idea what he was talking about. But axe the tax got him to 41% the first time. So maybe if he says it a little louder with a little more derision, a little more emphasis when he says billion, and a little more emphasis or pop on the B, that will do the trick for him. He's literally doing the exact same thing that didn't work for him the first time. All right, let's try again.
Instead, he has been worse. He said he would be judged by grocery prices.
Mark Carney actually never said that. Donald Trump did. But Mark Carney had never said, I don't remember one single clip of him ever saying, "You will judge me by the grocery prices." This is a lie. This is like Pierre saying, Pierre saying Mark Carney said he could, quote, handle Trump. And as I made the point earlier in a previous show, there's a difference between saying Mark Carney said, quote, I promise I will handle Trump, and Mark Carney said he promised he would, quote, handle Trump. The only thing under quote in there is the words handle Trump. The I promise, I will is not in there. So he could have gone to any speech where Mark Carney said the words handle Trump, and then Pierre Poilièvre just puts whatever he wants in front of it. Mark Carney probably did talk about grocery prices at some point, but I'm pretty sure he never stood in front of a camera and said, judge me by how well I lower the cost of groceries, because Mark Carney is a banker and knows that governments do not lower the price of groceries unless they plan to nationalize the grocery system. Let's keep moving.
Since he took office, grocery prices have been among the worst offenders for inflation, rising by far faster than the 2% target. More and more people are forced to line up at food banks, cut back on their diets, and sacrifice their families' nutrition as liberal prices continue to rise. Mark Carney said he would spend less, yet his first spending bill increased the cost of government by an astonishing 8%. In fact, Justin Trudeau left behind a $40 billion deficit. Mark Carney, who can't even figure out how to introduce a budget, is now on track to double Trudeau's deficit. In other words, and this is almost hard to say out loud because it sounds so unbelievable, but Mark Carney is even more expensive than Justin Trudeau was.
It's hard to say out loud because it sounds so unbelievable, because it is. It is unbelievable. You should not believe that. Again, Pierre doesn't ask what we're getting for the money. Right? Number two, that spending bill alone did not increase spending by 8% this year. That one spending bill alone. Most of the spending decisions for this year have been made under the previous government. Pierre is just trying to make the current government wear it. This is not serious. talk. He's worse than Justin Trudeau. Pierre still can't quit Justin. Still can't quit Justin. All right. Let's keep going. There was something else in there he said that he took note of, but it escaped my mind, unfortunately.
What we see at the same time is purchasing power going down. $60 billion of investment, a record sum according to the Financial Times, has fled Canada since Prime Minister Carney took office. That is a net exodus of investment.
All right, and here we get to the concept of correlation is not causation, because that happened at the same time that Mark Carney happens to be Prime Minister. Doesn't mean that it was a Mark Carney decision that caused that alone. Right? This also happened while Pierre Poilièvre was the alleged leader of the opposition. We could just as easily blame him. The manner in which he provided opposition created such financial uncertainty that all that investment decided to go somewhere else. Isn't Pierre a terrible opposition leader? Right? I mean, this is the fact that something happened at the same time that somebody happened to be in governance doesn't mean that that thing that happened is 100% the fault of the person who's governing. Right? The fact that bread prices go up because there's a war in Ukraine now and the breadbasket of the world gets affected is not the fault of the Prime Minister of Canada. It's a situation he has to contend with. Absolutely. But it's not their fault, and they didn't cause it. So, again, Pierre doing the same thing, trying to make everything bad that's going on in the world or in the country the fault of one man and one man only. Didn't work for him last time, not going to work for him this time either. All right, let's continue.
Means our money will be creating jobs for American and other foreign workers rather than for our workers here in Canada because of the high taxes and bad economic management of Mark Carney. Meanwhile, as our young people have a quarter-century high in their unemployment, Mark Carney brings in, this year is expected to bring in a record number of temporary foreign workers to take the jobs of Canadian youth, driving down our kids' wages and their ability to earn a living. So while he drives up the cost of housing, preventing them from owning homes, he drives down their wages by allowing greedy multinational corporations to bring in low-wage foreign workers that take away Canadian jobs, including in high unemployment regions of this country. Crime and chaos rage on our streets as every single catch-and-release liberal law remains in place, and Mark Carney has done nothing to stop it. And Mark Carney globetrots around the world, signing fake declarations that mean nothing and secure nothing for Canada, all while the United States and China are trampling all over Canada with tariffs. His weakness abroad is costing us at home.
Okay. You see how much difficulty he had getting that whole load of BS out in one straight sentence there. So the thing he said previously that had slipped my mind, but it came back to me, is saying that Mark Carney is having difficulty figuring out how to get a budget through. Really? Really? The House is not even in session. I'm not sure how you get a budget through the House when the House is not in session. And are you really going to try to make me believe that a central banker doesn't know the first thing about getting a budget through? Really? That's what I mean. These declarations that he says with such smug confidence are so just on the face silly. But they make no sense. The Canada that he is describing there, do you recognize it? Because in all the time that Mark Carney has been on the scene, have you seen him talk about increasing temporary foreign workers in order to take jobs away from the youngest during record high youth unemployment? By the way, well, not record high youth unemployment, but very high youth unemployment. By the way, when Pierre was minister of jobs, allegedly. Youth unemployment was at 13 something percent. It's amazing how all the solutions that he put in place then um, didn't work this time. This guy's terrible at this. He's a good shit talker. The problem is he just grabs things and puts whatever together and hopes it will work, no matter how untethered to reality it is. Um, he's accusing Carney of single-handedly raising prices while driving down wages. I'm pretty sure that's not what he's doing, and I'm pretty sure that's not what his intent is either. And I still fail to remember a single instance of him being in front of a camera or talking to the press, talking about his plan to bring in more temporary workers in order to suppress the wages of younger Canadians. In fact, I believe that some of the things that we talked about is about younger Canadians just yesterday finding a job has to do with slightly older Canadians not being able to find their next job after their first job so that they remain stuck in their first jobs. And then if you add some AI to that, that's more what's going on. And if there are demands for increased temporary foreign workers, those demands would be coming from provincial premiers who, as we've noted, if you've been following the show over the past years, have been all over the place with regard to immigration. Alberta, we want to double the size of our population to 10 million people. Oh my God, I can't believe they brought so many workers in. Oh, but after the pandemic, we need those workers because people don't want to go back to work yet, or people have all upgraded. And, well, you need people to fill these jobs. Oh, no. Oh, rents are too high and there's too many demands on the healthcare system. Those damn immigrants. What? You cut the immigrants, but what about our colleges? Ah. It's like they're trying to have it both ways on this one, right? Pierre is actively campaigning on having decreased population decrease for a few years so that housing and healthcare can catch up. But he also wants a pipeline built within 150 days, which would probably require a lot of foreign workers. And then, of course, if we have those pipelines built in 150 days, well, then we have to have ports and rail and whatnot to ship and move them. So we would need more temporary workers to help build those as well. But he wants fewer Canadians in Canada. He wants population to go down. None of his policies altogether make sense. The stuff that he's talking about in this section never happened. He's claiming it did, but it never did. And that's pretty sad. All right. Back to more rantings. Again, he talks for about 8 minutes before he takes any questions. We're at 4 minutes 41. And again, we're unpacking just the level of bullshit in there. And we haven't taken down every single one of his lies or fabrications or exaggerations, just the ones that are so uh, bald-faced, phony, and hilariously off the mark, caricaturally off the mark, that they just cannot be taken seriously on their face.
Now, I did take some satisfaction in winning the debate on the carbon tax. Of course, I led the great Conservative team in an axe tax campaign that everyone dismissed, but then had to reverse themselves. And Mark Carney, of the carbon tax, who of course was the one who advised Trudeau to bring it in, was forced on the eve of the election to reverse himself and promise to do as I said and axe the carbon tax. But I warned Canadians.
Again, none of this happened. There is no evidence that Mark Carney is the father of the carbon tax. There is no evidence that it was Mark Carney personally that advocated for Trudeau to put it on. There is no, it is absolutely not true that Mark Carney waited until the end of the election to pledge to remove the carbon tax. It's again trying to polish off that shiniest silver medal in Canadian political history. I'm glad he's taken my ideas and he stole my ideas. I'm the one who talked about it first, giving himself some doing some self fluffing here. And this brings up the first part of the conservative conundrum that I mentioned earlier. uh, Pierre Poilièvre, since the election, even during the election, has been bragging, boasting, telling everyone who will listen was that Mark Carney stole all of his policies. Of course, if you've been watching this show, you know it's not true. When Pierre came up with a 6 or 7 point plan for responding to Donald Trump, these were all the things in his plan were things that either Mark Carney or other people had already come before the cameras to say. And then Pierre just put them together in a bullet point list and said, I've got a 6 point or 7 point plan. Because he thought of putting them together in a list and adding numbers to them. But none of the ideas in that plan were his. They were all things that were stated before, a lot of them by Mark Carney, that Pierre lifted and tried to sell as his own. Now, Axe the Tax was indeed his idea. Was indeed his idea. But he didn't, all he did was get people to get mad and enraged about it. The person who actually did Axe the Tax was indeed Mark Carney. And if you look at public opinion polling, Canadians are giving credit to Mark Carney for having gotten it done, not for Pierre, to Pierre for having made it an issue. So you would think again, if you went back into an election and say, but oh my God, I did all this work for 2 years for Axe the Tax, Axe the Tax, Axe the Tax, and then the tax got axed and he got the credit, not me for bringing it. What do I learn from this? I don't learn, go back to a mic and say Axe the Tax 2.0 and hope that this time I will get the credit for it. I just went through the experience. I invested a lot of myself in it and I didn't get the credit. But that's not the lesson he learned. he learned lesson he learned is that first time doing it got me so close that if I try it again this time, maybe this time, maybe this time I'll get lucky. Ah, God, poor Pierre. I almost feel sorry for him. He literally has nothing else. All right, let's keep going.
And then he would bring it back when he no longer needed your vote, but still needed your money. And sure enough, here we are today. Mark Carney is bringing back the carbon tax to Carbon Tax 2.0. He calls it the Clean Fuel Standard, Clean Fuel Regulations. According to the Parliamentary Budget Officer, it will add 17 cents a litre to your gas. What did the last carbon tax add to your gas? 17 cents a litre. The new tax is starting to look a lot like the old tax. And Mark Carney thinks no one will notice. Well, Conservatives have noticed, and that is why we are announcing today that we are making it a priority to boost take-home pay and reverse the Liberal cost of living crisis by opposing Mark Carney's Carbon Tax 2.0.
I'm not exactly sure how it is that opposing alleged Carbon Tax 2.0, which is not in effect yet, as per his own admission, is going to boost your take-home pay. If it were already in effect, it would, and they removed it, it would be boosting how much your take-home pay can buy, but it wouldn't actually boost your take-home pay. Opposing an alleged carbon tax 2.0 is not going to cause your boss to come into your cubicle tomorrow and say, "Hey, you've been doing such a great job. Here's a raise. Your take home pay has been boosted." He's literally just throwing concepts together in a sentence. This is literal word salad. None of it makes sense.
We want to axe all carbon taxes for good, for real, for everyone, forever. We want to increase your purchasing power because we know it's not just gas and diesel. Everything that comes in a truck will be more expensive when you tax fuel. And if you got it, a truck brought it. So we need to get rid of the carbon taxes altogether, make our lives affordable again, restore the deal that Canada had with its young people and with its seniors, that if you've worked hard, you get a great life, you can buy a nice house, you get good food, you get to live in a safe neighborhood. That's what we're fighting for. And this fall, our priorities are very clear. Stronger take-home pay to reverse the liberal cost of living crisis, safer streets to reverse the liberal crime crisis, secure borders to reverse the liberal immigration crisis, and a self-reliant Canada to bring home the $500 billion of investment that liberals have sent abroad.
There you go, kits and cubs. Like we mentioned in the previous episode about Pierre, the new 4-point slogan, all starting with S. He just put them in there. Again, tried to loop everything back to the time gone by stuff that he mentioned at the beginning. But all of this, he even had a little throwback to his ending line of his speeches from the last campaign, right? You can buy a nice home on a safe street, under a proud Canadian flag, defended by our military, as you hold your paycheck and have a cold drink and say, "We are home." Right? Even recycled that little bit, took some of the stuff off at the front end and the back end, but still sliding it in there. It's literally the same campaign. Literally. He just put a 2.0 on it. That's it. As branding, this is awful. This is atrocious. This is him again phoning it in and insulting the intelligence of Canadians. Nothing about this is shiny or new, shows any growth, any evolution.
We want this to be a strong, self-reliant, and secure country where we earn our living, we stand on our own 2 feet, we supply ourselves with our goods, we harvest our resources, where paychecks grow faster than the cost of living, where families are founded, where they can buy homes, they can live in safe streets, where kids can play street hockey and come back in and eat their food, including their broccoli, after a great evening out in a beautiful, affordable community anywhere in this country. That's what we're working for, and my message to Mr. Carney, we will work with anybody from any party in order to make that vision a reality. We want to cooperate with any party that will help us do it, so join with us.
So once again, Pierre, even though he lost the election and lost his seat, bellying up in front of a mic and saying, "Hey, everybody, join with us to impose our program and our platform that lost. We will work with anybody at all, to impose our losing platform instead of the winning platform of the people that the people of Canada legitimately chose in a legitimate election." It's easy to say you will want to work with anybody on something nobody wants to work with you on. Real easy. Super duper easy. He's willing to work with anyone to row against the direction Canada has chosen to go in. Oh, such leadership. Are you in awe yet, kids? Are you in awe, kits and cubs? Such a display, such a muscular testosterone-filled display of strength and leadership. I'm swooning in my chair here at the Beaver Lodge. The manliness of it all. The brilliance. I don't know why anybody else hasn't thought of before of axing the tax yet again. Oh, I'm just, this just, this guy. This guy. All right, there's only a little bit left of it, so let's endure the rest. Bring it
Adopt
home.
the Sovereignty Act that we propose. Get rid of the carbon tax. Let's eliminate the wasteful spending. Let's toughen our laws and lock up the criminals. Let's do it together as a Team Canada approach in a way that works for the benefit of all Canadians, regardless of party status. That is our mission. That is our goal. Let's get it done.
Thank you. Now question.
Boy. Yeah. Not the most inspiring, is it? At all. Like, at all. Even he had trouble getting through it. All right. So I'm going to give the answers to just two questions here in the question and answer period. The first one, of course, about Gail Shea. We mentioned here at the beginning of the show. So this is a moment of Pierre being as human, I guess, as he can. So this is a good opportunity to see if there's any differences between the Pierre that just delivered this 8 minutes of, huh? Versus Pierre when he's asked to speak personally about someone who he's worked with for quite a long time and has known for a while. And then the second question will be more about the topic of the day. But in order to give Gail Shea her proper due from someone who did work with her, I do want to present the answer, the first question, the first answer. Because, we're to be oh my God, can you believe what Pierre said today? Show, just like we're trying to, with Donald Trump. Oh my God, can you imagine the stupid thing Donald Trump did today? If we did that, I mean, we would have plenty of content, but it would be a pretty boring and repetitive show, right? So we do try to show leaders when they attempt to be in a good light as well. It's not, the fact that Pierre regularly says and does stupid things that we have to talk about and call him dumb and stupid doesn't mean that we are trying to go out of our way to find ways to ridicule him or put him down. Because we actually want our leaders to perform their best. So when they do something that is good, when they say something that is smart, even Pierre, we try to highlight it and focus because we like to also supply some positive reinforcement when we see behaviors that we like. So when we have an opportunity to see when an opportunity presents itself for a leader to show themselves as more than just a politician, as somewhat a human, we like to show it. Now they say the saying in politics is this, if you're able to fake sincerity, you've won half the battle. Hopefully, in moments such as these, we hope that our leaders are not faking sincerity, that they actually are speaking from the heart. But only the viewers at home can judge whether or not that is the case. So, more about Gail Shea here.
From the floor.
Hi, I'm Jan with CBCPEI. Could you speak more about Gail Shea for me, the impact she had on the country as a person, as a politician, and why it was so important for you to be here today for her funeral?
Thank you very much. First of all, Gail was, I think she was about, I don't know, 4'5", but boy, did she ever pack a punch. And she fought for Islanders. She believed in and loved the people of this island. Every day, she would show up to cabinet and caucus and fight for the people on the island, fight for the fish harvesters, for the potato farmers, for the workers, for single moms. She came with stories of people, incredible people from the island that had inspired her to serve in public life. She loved to be in her garden. She loved to grow food, and she always had a big, beautiful smile on her face, no matter where she went or what was going on. I have not met a single person that didn't love Gail Shea. She had a big, beautiful heart. And you know, when I was going through hard times in life, I would often call her, and she would fill me with encouragement and mentorship. And so it's with great sadness we lay her to rest today. She will be remembered as a great Islander and a great Canadian. Thank you. Yes.
All right. So we get to see a little bit of a different side of Pierre there. Now, if you believed that that type of effusive praise and tribute was genuine from him, then you might be wondering, where is this guy 95% of the time? Right? A lot of the smarm and the overemphasis and the acting kind of disappeared there a little bit. Some could say that these were sort of generic statements that one can say about someone. Maybe, maybe not. But the delivery was indeed slightly different. And that which Pierre is saying about her, that a lot of people liked her, was definitely indeed true. And this wasn't only of partisans. Wayne Easter, the former Liberal MP from Malpeque, Prince Edward Island, said that the job of Minister of Fisheries and Oceans was a big deal for Gail Shea. Quote, "It's one of the toughest portfolios there is because you've got competing interests, but that was a highlight of her career to be Minister of Fisheries and Oceans because she came from a fisheries family." Also, Ernie Hudson, who was PEI's PC Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure, said in a statement Friday that he was deeply saddened by the passing of his close friend and mentor, stating she dedicated her life to making life better for all of us. Lisa Raitt, one of her conservative colleagues, said Gail Shea was probably one of the fiercest political operators that I've met, recalling how formidable Shea was in her understanding of, quote, the politics, the partisanship, but as well as bringing it home for her own people. As a woman, what I saw from Gail was that she was a mom, she was a grandmother, she was a wife, but she was a fierce politician. She did it and had the respect of not only of the people that were on her side, but as well as the people on the other side of the aisle. It wasn't about her name being on something. It was about the community having something. And that's a dying breed of politician. There were others. I think that's it. The reactions I have. Yep, those are all the public reactions. So again, a lot of people did very much respect her. So again, a lovely moment for her in remembrance of what she has done for her community. Now, the question here to which I wanted to present the answer that Pierre brought has to do with the concept of the ports. For example, we've talked about yesterday when I was talking about the case for LNG that is being made. We talked about trying to get some LNG from Canada to points in Europe, which would require a port that goes east. And of course, I was thinking of St. John originally, and then somebody made me think, I think it was one of the kids, the St. Lawrence Seaways ports in Montreal. The ports in Churchill as well if it was had the refurbishing to be able to have a tanker that can carry liquefied natural gas to dock at it and leave from it, could be another port by which we can get that type of resource going east without having the issue of having a pipeline, uh, either whether it be liquefied natural gas in this case or oil crossing territory in Quebec where there might be more objections. So Pierre was asked specifically about this because, as we mentioned, it seems that um, Minister Hodgson and the Prime Minister have both indicated that some of the first few projects that might get the designation of projects of national interest would be things having to do with refurbishing and expanding ports. So let's take a look at it.
Envoie le bon signal d'un nouveau marché qu'on essaie de développer.
So the question in French was that it looks like there is going to be some expansions to these two ports, and is this you know is this a positive development? Is this a good idea? So the question was asked in French, and so Pierre answered in French first. So I'm just going to advance the counter here for you so that you can hear his answer in English.
Well, I'm glad that Mr. Carney has noticed my proposal from 3 years ago to develop the port of Churchill, which I proposed back in the spring of 2022. But what I find incredible is that he has been in power for 170 days, and he not only is there not a single shovel in the ground on any of these projects, there's not even firm proposals for these projects. Let me put this into context. He was in Germany. The Germans built, from concept to completion, an entire LNG import terminal in 194 days. That's about how long Mark Carney has been Prime Minister. And he still doesn't even know what projects he wants to build, or how he's going to build them, or which companies are going to do the building. So what I think you're going to see from Mr. Carney is more big promises without any action. It's more liberal show business rather than getting it done. And I would say, don't confuse activity with achievement. Mr. Carney has been frantically jetting around the world doing photo ops and signing phony declarations that are unenforceable and have no money attached to them. But in 170 days, he doesn't have a single project underway, while $60 billion of investment, Canadian money, has fled our country, mostly to the United States, impoverishing our people and enriching foreign workers. So what I'm saying to Mr. Carney is I'm extending the hand of friendship to all parties. Adopt the Canadian Sovereignty Act, which will rapidly legalize pipelines, mines, LNG plants, ports, open our economy up to the world. It will get rid of the capital gains tax on any reinvestment that is done in Canada to make our economy roar. Our workers will have paychecks that grow. Our economy will be self-reliant. And I say to Mr. Carney, steal my ideas. Take the credit for it. I'll help you write the bill. You can be the one to introduce and pass it. Let's just get it done. It's time to stop stopping and start starting.
All right. This is, yeah, that's the bullshit over here. So again, stop with your plan, impose our plan instead, somehow trying to create the impression that pipelines and mines and whatnot are illegal in Canada. We need to legalize pipelines. They always were legal. That's how we got the TMX twinning done, and that's how we have that LNG terminal in Kennebunk. By the way, those were achievements of Justin Trudeau, from the party that you're claiming that is that has made these things illegal. So these first element of the conservative conundrum here. How are all these things that you are claiming have been illegal all along get done? Did the previous government go so far as to break the law in order to get a pipeline to Tidewater? Because if I were a conservative, isn't that the type of thing I would be celebrating? Because the conservatives certainly had no problem breaking the law trying to get that pipeline built. Well, actually, correction, sorry, broke the law trying to create a case upon which they could fleece millions and millions from Canadians on the promise that they would build a pipeline. Because that's what they did. The Supreme Court said, no, you can't do it this way. Here's how you got to do it. And rather than saying, thank you, Supreme Court, we will do it that way, they decided to raise money on the fact that there wasn't a pipeline yet and all those terrible activist judges just being in the way. And all these terrible other laws being in the way of making it happen. Because these laws are not in the way. These laws are giving the roadmap. They're saying, if you want to get this pipeline done, you need to do this. And if you do this, you will get a pipeline done. And we've just had an example of us doing what the law requires and getting a pipeline done. 2, even, to Tidewater. 1 oil and 1 liquefied natural gas. But Pierre doesn't want to acknowledge this reality, because if he acknowledges the reality, then he can't fundraise off it anymore. And he needs the issue more than he needs the solution. Pierre, conservatives don't actually want to get pipelines built. They want to complain that they're not built so that they can fundraise off it and get votes and outrage people, but they don't actually want to get a pipeline built. Because if they get a pipeline built and everything is still terrible, then Canadians might start catching on to the fact that they don't actually have solutions. So it's not about getting a pipeline built for this guy at all. The other thing, however, that happened in this answer, if you were paying attention, and it's the second time he does this in this press conference. He did it a little earlier in his whole speech, talking about Prime Minister Mark Carney traveling around the world, getting all these photo ops, having lots of meetings, having a lot of activity, but getting nothing done, signing these fake, or as in this particular answer, phony deals. And this is how you know that Pierre Poilièvre is not a serious candidate, is not a serious person, because when someone signs a deal or makes an agreement with another party, when someone comes out and says that these deals are fake or phony, you're not only accusing your government of engaging in showbiz politics and signing fake and phony deals and showing up for photo ops, but you're also accusing the other party with whom we made the deal of engaging in that same behavior. Now, while Pierre did not talk about the Prime Minister being in Germany and signing a fake deal with Germany or signing a fake agreement with Poland, he said that he was in Europe signing fake and phony deals. Well, he has to have signed those fake and phony deals with someone. And one would also have to assume that the someones with whom those deals, allegedly fake and phony deals, were signed, were also aware that these deals were fake and phony. So, on yesterday's show, we showed you a clip of the German ambassador to Canada, Matthias Luttenberg. Actually, as we mentioned, Kit mentioned, the Germans are actually splitting ambassadorial duties. It's actually a husband and wife team. Thurs and Belleman is the other one, who are basically doing it 6 months it's him, 6 months it's her, and they're going back and forth. But what Pierre said about the deals being fake and phony provoked some reaction from said ambassador. So I'm just going to show you a tweet here from Probably blow that up here, make it a little bigger. Canada signed a joint declaration between Canada on critical minerals and cooperation. And there's a statement that appears on the Government of Canada website that Pierre decided to get a screen cap of and highlight a section that says this JDI, Joint Declaration of Intent, is not legally binding and does not create any financial commitment because it's a declaration of intent to move forward with stuff. It isn't a commitment to actually move ahead with a project. It's a commitment of intent to move forward on projects. So it's the thing that comes before projects are declared, because you don't just waltz into a country within 24 hours and say, hey, I've got this deal for you, sign it. Okay, tomorrow we put a shovel in the ground. It's not how it works. You have to go into a country. As we mentioned previously, we've done a lot of the agreements to get the legal architecture to make sure that these trade agreements were in place, but we never did actually maximize them, right? So it's not like you walk into a country one day, you say, hey, I'm here, sign all of this. You actually have to meet people. You actually have to introduce yourself. You actually have to build some rapport and relationships before you get to a shovel in the ground. This is the state that we are in at the moment, and it seems to be going well because, well, after these 160 something days on the job, because people respect Mark Carney as a leader enough to sign joint declarations of intent. So Pierre says, much media hype about Mark Carney signing a joint declaration of intent with Germany. What does it mean? Nothing. Read the fine print. This joint declaration of intent is not legally binding and does not create any financial commitment. All show business. Now, again, considering the source, this is hilarious. But here we have the German ambassador to Canada, who responds, far from nothing, but exactly what it says. A joint declaration of intent to cooperate in this crucial area of mutual interest needs implementation, but this is an important step forward, and we will work hard to build on that with all stakeholders in Canada. Let's get to work. Which of course led me to say, Dankeschön, Ambassador, for setting the record straight. We are so sorry that you had to speak up to correct our very unprofessional and embarrassing leader of the opposition. Pierre is so reckless with his words and accusations that it required the ambassador of a foreign nation to speak up publicly and issue a public rebuke of our leader of the opposition for suggesting that our German allies, with whom we are working very, 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 very hard to establish new economic pathways and diversify our trade, as being people who would publicly engage in phony and fraudulent behavior. Because doing that type of thing sure is conducive to helping us reroute trade and making us less dependent on the United States, as Pierre keeps on complaining the Liberals have made us over the last 10 years. Even though every single pipeline that the Conservatives wanted to build, except for one, was shipping all our resources south. Which would make us more dependent on the United States. This man is an international incident waiting to happen if he becomes prime minister. You can't go around in public, on camera, digital, over the internet, which is forever and goes everywhere, stating that the leader of your nation is signing phony and fake deals or agreements that mean nothing with other nations without insulting the other nation in the process. without leveling the same accusation of the other nation. This is not a man who knows how to make friends. This is not a man who knows how to play well with others. This is a man that does not know how to treat allies with respect. This is a man who doesn't even respect himself. Right? He ran for the easiest fight possible for a reason. He doesn't know who he is and he doesn't believe in his abilities. He knows he's a fraud. He knows he's a fake. He knows he's a phony. That's why he needs to pick the easy fights. That's why he needs to go into this very facile rhetoric rather than actually doing the work of coming up with counter proposals that are either completely different but could work, because or things that says, well, this proposal is good, but it's lacking in this area, and you really need to add this in order to improve them. This is why all he can do is shit talk. He's lazy. He is intellectually and morally lazy and bankrupt. He doesn't care who he hurts. He doesn't think through what he says. And this all leads to the second conservative conundrum, where here again, he's talking about this being his idea from 2022 that Mark Carney stole. Here is the question that I have for Pierre Poilièvre. Mr. Poilièvre, if all the ideas that Mark Carney has already implemented in the 147 to 160 days or whatever that he has already been prime minister are all your ideas, are all conservative ideas, are all your personal ideas. And since he's been implementing them, everything in Canada has gotten worse, so much so that they're even worse than Justin Trudeau. And you need to rush to a microphone in an empty gas station to talk about carbon tax 2.0 and how we're all going to hell. What does that say about your ideas? If Mark Carney stole all your ideas, is implementing them, and Canada is still getting worse and worse more quickly than it was under Justin Trudeau, what does that say about your ideas, sir? Because it certainly isn't an issue with implementing them. He's a world-recognized banker. He's a global superstar. So surely it's not because he's implementing all of your wonderful, brilliant policies the wrong way. If Canada sucks harder now than it did before, after him stealing all your ideas and putting them in place, it means your ideas were terrible. You're literally calling your own ideas terrible, and you don't even notice it. You are accusing other nations, allied nations, whose cooperation we need, of engaging in fake and phony deals, trying to pull fast ones over their own people. And you think this will work for you, and you don't even realize you're doing it because you're so anxious at getting that pot shot in, that cheap shot in, that you don't realize that when you're saying one thing, what are the other things you are also saying or implying or suggesting at the same time. This is not a serious person. He is an international incident waiting to happen. It is very rare for the ambassador of another nation to have to pipe up and say, I'm sorry, sir, but you got that wrong. It is very rare. In fact, the whole point about diplomacy is holding your tongue in many situations where people are saying things and doing things that are just mind-boggling, and trying to correct the record delicately. This, when an ambassador of another nation needs to publicly come out and insert himself in a national discussion to correct something that a leader or a political leader, not the leader, but a political leader in another nation has said. That is seismic in this world. There should never have to be an occasion for an ambassador to do that, to insert itself, to correct the record when somebody of another nation speaks. They are usually there to advocate for what their nation has to say. This is embarrassing. It is entirely counterproductive. These are the type of things that can cause another nation to say, you know what, on second thought, maybe we won't do this type of deal or arrangement with you. I'm not going to accuse Pierre of trying to sabotage the beginnings of this agreement. But this is not how you go about making friends and ensuring that you get a final deal that gets a shovel in the ground that Pierre claims he wants. This is not how you actually go about making that happen. This is how you guarantee you get the direct opposite. You can't go around and be insulting your allies and international partners in this way. Especially so casually and flippantly, as he did in this press availability. It's terrible. And we've talked a lot today, so we're near getting close to the 2 hours, so I won't be able to show you those clips today. But there was, if you watched Power and Politics yesterday, there was a lot of response to what Pierre said in here. That either in a softer way makes the same points that I'm making here, or more subtly. But there was nobody on that show yesterday who believed that these types of it's a realistic expectation for Pierre to have that there would be shovels in the ground already. There's just nobody believes nobody knows how it is Pierre could be saying these things because there's no basis for it. Even talking about the trade negotiations with the United States, you had Tim Powers, the conservative pundit, being asked directly, like, how's it going? It's like, nobody knows. It's like what we've been saying on the show. Only the people in the room know what's going on. There's no basis for Pierre to be able to walk to a mic and make these declarations about concessions and capitulations and all that type of stuff with such smug confidence, as if these things were known facts in the public domain that everyone can see. There's no basis for it, but it doesn't stop him. He does it anyway. We do not have a serious opposition. We do not have a competent leader of the opposition. We do not have a leader of the opposition that is willing to dig down and do the hard work of proposing. And we do not have a leader of the opposition that is willing to do the opposing part in a manner that is constructive, in a manner that does not create openings for those who would wish us harm to be able to walk in and exploit. Pierre Poilièvre is not a serious man. All right, kids and cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you loved listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please, kids and cubs, let your peeps know all about us. And I'm looking here in the chat, and I see that we also have Kit Bucky that has joined us. And I see here a Kit Kyle, which is a new name for us, for me, that I haven't noticed before in the chat. So welcome to the Beaver Lodge, Kit Kyle. I hope that you enjoyed here. Hope that you come back often. And we have Kit Lori Sue with us, who has joined us during the course of the show, and Kit Cassie as well. So just giving a couple of hellos to you while you're there. And here, since we have Kit Kyle, let's put a comment of his up on the screen as well. So there we go. Your first comment on our screen on our show. Welcome to the Beaver Lodge, saying that talking about Mark Carney here. He did say the relationship has changed and that it is over with the United States. However, he also did say he was the man to handle Trump. I am going to issue a slight gentle precision on that. He didn't say that he was the man to handle Trump. He said that he had the skills and qualifications and experience needed to be able to go into this situation with Trump and deliver for us the best result possible. Mark Carney has never said explicitly, I can handle Donald Trump, or I promise you, I will handle Donald Trump. Because had he done that, we would have gotten one hell of a reaction from Donald Trump that would have been on the front pages of all the newspapers, because we all know nobody handles Donald Trump. So if somebody went out into the press and suggested that they could and promised that they could, the reaction would have been front page news all over the world. So I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. He's the man. I'm pretty sure he said that he's the man to handle this situation. Now, that doesn't mean that there's a guarantee he's going to be successful. But he's the best player we've got for this particular situation. So we sent him in. You always have to be careful of conservative framing. They like to take elements of an answer with what they want to say and then put them together. But it's usually not an accurate reflection of what actually was said and how things went down. We have Kit del Sol Verde with us. Well, gee, a lot of people have come in over the course of the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Like we said, we don't care when it is you arrive, so long as you do arrive. Yay! Okay, kits and cubs, if you would like us to help you because you want to be engaged and informed citizens and you're on the go, and you've got a lot of things to do. And sometimes you don't have time to watch the Daily Beaver Morning Show, either live with the DAMFAM or on your own time. Sometimes you need to get your information in another way that allows you to get through your day. Well, hey, you don't have to worry because we like to help you. Thanks to the generous contribution of the Ray Girl, who once again this year, I think this is the third year now, has sponsored our pod page. If you scan this QR code, it will bring you there. And if you're listening, you go to podpage.com/the-truenortheagerbeaver with a hyphen between each one of those words. And when you go to that site and click on subscribe, when we have something fresh off the audio cast bandwidth or straight up a podcast, zip right into your favorite podcast feed we come, and you don't even have to come looking for us. We just sit there and, well, just quietly and demurely wait for you to notice us and then click on us. And then just like that, we're in your ears. We're portable, so take us with you. Thanks, Ray Girl, for making that happen. All right, kits and cubs. Also, if you would like to help us, Yes, we're helping you. Now, if you would like to help us, you can take a trip on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page. That QR code that just appeared will bring you there if you scan it. And if you go there, like 21,700 of you have so far, hoping we get to 22,000 soon. This is very, very exciting to watch it grow. Well, you can do that by clicking subscribe. You can also help us with the algorithm by clicking like and share. So like, share, subscribe are 3 little buttons. Give them a little flick. Give them a little lick. We like it so much when you do. It makes us happy when we see our numbers go up. Give us a little warm fuzzy on the inside. So thanks for all of that. And kids and cubs, if you would like to help us in yet another way, we do incur some costs to bring this show to you. You know, um, tech subscriptions, new subscriptions, upgrading our equipment, all that type of stuff. So we do incur some costs, and if you would like to help us with that, we would be very, very grateful. As you know, Kids and Cubs, we are entirely self-funded. It's either our own money and what we get from you and what we get from Google by having enough subscribers that they actually give us a little bit of money every month to exist based on viewership. But those are our only sources of funding. We still haven't qualified for those alleged checks that the conservatives keep on saying that all liberal or progressive media must be getting. We haven't qualified for ours yet if such checks exist. So we need your help. And if you would be so kind and gracious as to give it, we would be very, very grateful. And you can do that by making a contribution to the Eager Beaver Lodge's Emergency Hydration Fund. And you can do that by scanning the QR code that has now just appeared on the screen, which will bring you to our coffee page. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word. And there, whatever loonies or toonies you're able to put in our tip jar, goes to fight the scourge that is dry beaver. You have to keep your favorite beaver moist, because a moist beaver is a very happy beaver. So kids and cubs, if you want to buy your favorite beaver a mug of hot chocolate, say Add a Beaver, or your favorite grizzly a mug of dark coffee and say, hey, Add a Grizzly, we miss you. Come back soon. Here's some coffee to entice you. Maybe a trail of dark and bitter coffee cups, coming back to the Beaver Lodge, much like Elliot used Reese's Pieces in E.T. to drag E.T., lure E.T. out of the shed. Maybe Grizzly will come back. We'll need a long line of coffee cups, though, in order to make that happen. P.S. Send money. No, but seriously, kids and cubs, whatever it is that you can donate is greatly appreciated, and we are happy to receive your donation. And if you are not able to donate financially, as we often say on the show, do not worry, because the gifts of your attention and participation are the ones that matter the most to us, and we love to hear from you. So please write to us at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Tell us what you think about the show, good, bad, or ugly. If ugly, please be gentle, because we are delicate and sensitive creatures, but we do very much appreciate constructive feedback and constructive criticism. We want to make the show better, and we want it to make it responsive to your needs. So you need to let us know how it is that we are doing, and we love to hear from you. Now, if you are buying Canadians, you hear that? If you're buying Canadians, then, and you want to support the show, we have a way to do that that will align with your values and your objectives. truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. That email address is where you can send a direct bank transfer to us. And that's win-win-win, because first of all, Canadian bank to Canadian bank, all Canadian transaction. That's a win. When that happens, you bypass the US CE Tech Bros from PayPal and other services that take a cut of your donation and then take a portion of that and offer it as tribute to Donald Trump to do what it is that he is doing to us. So you avoid that. You don't fund them. And because you're not funding them and doing a Canadian bank to Canadian bank transfer, that means your favorite bear and your favorite beaver get 100% of your donation. That's why we say win, win, win. So if you'd like to donate that way, we would appreciate that. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, we have our super chat feature that is open there, and memberships for sale that you can get there. And we would really appreciate all the ways that you contribute to help keep us going, because we certainly wouldn't be be able to have done this long without your help. So it's because of you that we are still on air, and that we do this every day. And we are, well, 5 days a week, I should say. And we thank you very much for your generous contribution. All right, kids and cubs, if you want to reach us other than through our email address, like through our socials, you can do that at True Eager at the Blue Sky Beaver Lodge, and on the Jitter is where you can find us. True North Eager Beaver on Facebook, which is our original home on the web. And of course, if you are listening on our YouTube channel, either live with the DAMFAM or at your own convenience, right down here in the comments section, you can leave us a little something. We do read everything, even though we're not able to necessarily get back to everyone. And all of your contributions, whether written or financial, get put back into the show in order to make a better product, constantly evolving for you. And we thank you, kids and cubs, because democracy is something that you do. If you live in the district of Spruce Woods in Manitoba, take a day off because you voted in the by-election on the 26th, and you've done your work, so you deserve a little rest. For the rest of us, however, if you happen to be living in Alberta and you want Alberta to remain a part of Canada, and you want to put a little bit of cork and all of that cyst rah that's going on, well, there is a group of dedicated Canadians led by Thomas Lukasik called forevercanadian.ca that are looking for your help. Mr. Lukasik has managed to get a citizens initiative question approved, but in order for it to get on the ballot on which for people to vote, well, he needs to collect just under 294,000 signatures, and probably more because, well, Danielle Smith does as Danielle Smith does, and she'll probably try to find a way to invalidate some of the signatures. So we need to sign that in numbers too great for her to manipulate, or even dare dream to think about manipulating. There seems to be some buzz about a goal of trying to reach 1 million of them. That would be quite something in a province of 5 million people. But I am pretty confident that there are at least 1 million people in Alberta who love Canada enough to be able to say out loud, I would like Alberta to remain in Canada. But because the rules require that all signatures to the petition be witnessed, there needs to be canvassers who go around, or you need to go to a canvasser in order to be able to sign it. So this requires a little extra work. You can't just go online and make a signature. So forever-canadian.ca is where you can donate to help the organization fund itself, pledge to sign a petition if it comes around your way. Find out where there are some pop-up spots to sign petitions today and in the coming days. In certain regions, you have some teams of very dedicated volunteers that are trying to create some services to be able to go to you if you are mobility impaired. So please find out in your region if that exists for you, if people want to do that. And of course, so lots of ways you can be involved, right? Volunteering, donating to help the organization, signing, pledging to sign, finding out where your pop-up site is, becoming a canvasser yourself. If you live in an apartment building that has a lot of people there, sign up to be a canvasser and go to door to door in your building and try to get signatures that way. That's a good way to get a lot of signatures in a short amount of time because every signature helps. So kids and cubs, again, forever-canadian.ca. Go there and get the information, and we will be trying to get Mr. Lukasik on the show. We have a verbal agreement that he would come once he had more to announce. I'm pretty sure we're probably getting around that time, given that things have started. So hopefully we'll reach out to him again and try to set a date for that, because I know you've been asking for that. And this is something I personally want to hear more about as well. I have to admit there's a little bit of a selfish push on that one. So because I want to hear it from the horse's mouth, as the expression goes. Not saying that Mr. Lukasik is a horse, of course, although he is quite a workhorse, because this involves a lot of work, and he's not getting paid for this. He's just doing this because he loves the country so much. So the least we can do is give him a little support and show up to put our signature on a piece of paper. All right, kids and cubs, words of wisdom. Well, today, my words of wisdom are going to come from my own tennis experience. Kids and cubs, you may be down 2-5 in the match, But sometimes, if you believe and you focus and you're prepared to do the hard work, to grind it out, to bring yourself back to level, sometimes it actually does work out for you. So give it a try. You'll never know unless you give it a go. All right. That's it for me today, kids and cubs. It could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And now, I don't know if it's my favorite part of the show or my second favorite part of the show because I'm starting to like the magic monitor thing a bit. I do like saying hello to all of you in the morning. But kids and cubs, either my first or second part of the show that I prefer the most is our audience participation segment when I ask you to say aloud all together, Mr. Beaver, please cue the cock. So kids and cubs, on 1, 2, 3. Oh, look at that. Well, I should say, I can't look at that. I need to hear that. That was absolutely delightful. And one of you back there hit a high C when you were doing it. Nice little touch there. How can I deny the kids and cubs what they ask for? I just can't. I can't. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. There you are. A little bit of an Easter egg. Apologies for the couple of moments today on the show where the pre-recorded bits or the video bits skipped a little bit. Maybe a slight little bandwidth issue going on today. Hopefully it didn't distract too much. Kids and cubs, a little bit about Canadians who make us proud. Of course, as you know, I'm a tennis nut, so focusing on the U.S. Open. Today, all 3 men who are in the draw, all of 3 of them seated among the top 32, by the way, will be playing. Denis Shapovalov, as match is scheduled to start around 12:30. Of course, these times are estimates because it depends if they are not the first match of the day, how long the match preceding them or the matches preceding them last. But Denis Shapovalov, ranked 29th in the world, will be taking on Mr. Valentin Royer of France, who is ranked 98th in the world, and that match is scheduled to start around 12:30. Around 2:30 in the afternoon, Gabriel Diallo, ranked 31 in the tournament, 33rd in the world, will have a tough match indeed against Jaume Munar of Spain, who's ranked 44th in the world. So not too much difference for them. This is a very close pairing for a second round match. Hopefully, Diallo, who is playing very, very, very well of late, will be able to handle this competitor who can be a little tricky, I have to say. But in the 2 times that they have played before, Diallo has won, and 1 time has been at the U.S. Open. Actually, they played at the U.S. Open last year against each other, and Diallo won it 3-1. And then in the regular non-Grand Slam, played him somewhere else and beat him in straight sets. So hopefully this will be a win for Diallo, but definitely a tougher match. And then, of course, Canada's top-ranked male player at the moment, Mr. Felix Auger-Aliassime has a match scheduled against Roman Safiullin, I believe, from Russia, who had a very, very involved 5-set match for his first round. So, uh, who played very, very, very well, I have to say, taking out Gail Monfils, who's very athletic and is always a dangerous floater in any draw. But that one went 5 sets and was very physical and demanding. So could be a situation where Safiullin might have slightly depleted resources, which could be an advantage for Felix Auger-Aliassime. On the women's side, kits and cubs, a big thumbs up to Leila Annie Fernandez, who's been having a bit of a tricky season. She did win a title a few weeks ago in Washington, but has been a little up and down this season in terms of consistency, and got through the second round playing Elsa Jacquemot of France. And I watched that match yesterday. It was quite a match because Jacquemot was pretty much all over Fernandez in the first set, winning at 6-2, and nothing Fernandez was able to do was working. But she regrouped in the second set to win it 6-3. And once she took the lead, she never really looked back. Was pressured a little bit in the third set, but never ultimately challenged, and won the third set 6-2. So after losing the first set, was able to find her center, regroup, focus, and win. She advances to the third round, where unfortunately she has to face the number 1 seed, Aryna Sabalenka. However, back in 2019, I think it was, when Fernandez made that dream run all the way to the final, she did defeat Aryna Sabalenka. So, fingers crossed that history can repeat itself. This is the place in all of the tennis world where Leila Fernandez has received, netted her best result ever, a Grand Slam final appearance. So she might have good vibes and good energy and good memories and all of that, also bolstering her game while she's there. Some players tend to play better or surpass themselves in venues where they've had much success, and that is definitely the case here for Leila Fernandez. So let's cross our fingers and hope for an upset against Aryna Sabalenka, although she is very much the dominant number 1 player in the world. Nobody's even close to her in the rankings in terms of the amount of points that she has gotten this year. So she's having a pretty good season. But you never know. Tennis is one of those any given Sunday sports. And, anybody can have a bad day at a bad time, and everybody can play lights out at any time. So let's hope for a situation like that. But lots of tennis on the schedule today with our 3 men playing. And of course, the men are best of 5. So in Grand Slam. So it could be a long day on the tennis courts. All right, kits and cubs. That's all I got for you today. And like magic, I am gone. But I will see you tomorrow. Amour et bisous. And now I vanish. Poof.